Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So today in this video we are going to talk about TCS interview question, and this video is contributed by one of our subscriber friend who recently got an opportunity to have an interview with TCS, and we'll be sharing the interview process as well as the interview questions. So firstly, let us look at the mail that we have received. So TCS interview questions. First of all, I'm very thankful to you. I have prepared for the interview by referring to your videos. I have attended TCS interview last week. I am having experience of 4.5 years in Java. First round is for 45 minutes and I got selected for second round, which is a formal interview and held for 15 minutes. So this mail we have received on August 29th, 2020. So this is the mail. So this video is for 4.5 years of experience candidate. So this is for a mid-level software developer, we can say. So let us quickly see the questions that were shared with us. The first question: what are scopes in Spring? Why there are different scopes and not one scope? So ideally, like scope is nothing but the limitation of a bean up to which or what extent it is available. Why there are different scopes? Because not a there are, for different scenarios, different uh, bean scopes we need. So that's why there are different beans. We can say, like if we say like there are altogether like five scopes of a bean, like singleton, prototype, request, session, global session. So based on the requirement, we'll be using up we'll be setting the bean scope. So that's why there are different scopes. If we talk about only singleton and all the beans like have singleton, that might be not our requirement. For few times we might be requesting a new bean whenever we request or whenever we do a get, we want a new bean. So in that scenarios, so that is the reason we have different scopes. So coming to the scope singleton. So when we define a bean with a singleton scope, the container creates a single instance of a bean. All the requests for that bean name will return the same object, which is cached. Any modification to that object will be reflected in all the references to that bean. This scope is default value if no other scope is specified. Coming to next, that is prototype. A beam in prototype scope will return a different instance every time it is requested from the container. It is defined by setting the value prototype to the at the red scope annotation in the bean definition. So mostly we'll be using singleton and prototype only, and there are three others like request, session, and global session. Like request is one bean per HTTP request. That is, each and every HTTP request will have its own instance of a bean created of and only valid in the context of web aware Spring application context. Next is like session. This is bean per HTTP session, only valid in the context of web aware Spring application context. And the third one is global session. So scopes a single bean definition to the lifecycle of a global HTTP session, typically only valid when we used in portlet context. So like last three things, the request session and global session are with the context of web aware Spring application context. So this is about the scopes. So coming to the next question, that is explain JVM architecture. So this is one of the most important question, I would say, for a mid-level Java or like software developer, because whenever you're working, you have to know about Java, like JVM, because when once you know it, you will be writing it the code in a very good manner. Like every Java developer knows that bytecode will be executed with the JRE. JRE means Java Runtime Environment, but many doesn't know the fact that JRE is the implementation of JVM, which analyzes the bytecode, interprets the code, and executes it. It is very important as a developer that we know the architecture of JVM, as it enables us to write code more efficiently. So if you see, so this is how JVMs look like. JVM architecture, we can say it is divided into three main subsystems. One is class loader subsystem, second is runtime data area, third is execution engine. So if we talk about each subsystem, class loader subsystem, it has mainly responsible for three activities: loading, linking, and initialization. Then comes JVM memory. So in JVM memory, we have method area, heap area, stack area, PC registers, native method stacks. Okay. So if you talk about each thing, like method area, in this method area, all the class level information like class name, Immediate parent class name, methods, and variable information, etc. are stored, including static variables. There is only one method area per JVM and it is shared resource. Coming to heap area, information of all objects is stored in the heap area. There is also one heap area per JVM. It is also a shared resource. Stack area, for every thread, JVM creates one runtime stack which is stored here. Every block of this stack is called activation record or stack frame, which stores method calls. PC register stores the address of current execution instruction of a thread. Obviously, each thread has a separate PC registers. Native method stacks. For every thread, a separate native stack is created. It stores native method information. And now next let's talk about execution engine. So execution engine executes the dot class, the bytecode which is called the bytecode. It reads the bytecode line by line, uses data and information present in the various memory areas, and executes the instruction. It is can be classified into three parts again, like interpreter, just JIT, which we call just-in-time compiler, and garbage collector. Next is JNI, which is Java Native Interface. It is an interface that interacts with the native method libraries and provides the native libraries required for the execution. It enables JVM to call C++ libraries and to be called by C++ libraries which may be specific to hardware. And finally is native method libraries. It is a collection of the native libraries, we can say, which are required by the execution engine. So this all we can talk about JVM. So next question is, what are OOPS concepts used in your project and explain them. So ideally any project like we can talk about the four major pillars of OOPS, that are encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, and inheritance. So like coming to encapsulation in Java is a process by which data and the code that acts upon them are integrated as a single unit. By encapsulating a class, variables, other classes cannot access them, and only the methods of the class can access them. And coming to example, every class is an example of encapsulation. Like if you design the code properly, so every class where you see private variables and public setters and getters, that is how we achieve encapsulation. And abstraction is a process of hiding the implementation details and showing only functionality to the user. Another way, it shows only essential thing to the user and hides the internal details. Like for example, sending email, where you just type the text and send it to a method, and that method internally has a huge logic of sending the email. Next is polymorphism. Polymorphism means many forms, and it occurs when we have many classes that are related to each other by inheritance. And what is inheritance? Is nothing but a child class acquires the properties of a parent class, is known as inheritance. Now let us discuss about the coding question that was asked. So print a pattern with one star in one line, two stars in second line, and so on up to five stars. I have also copy pasted the diagram here. So that is how we need to print. So in the next upcoming videos, we'll discuss about that as well. So the next question is also on coding. Write a program to find number is even or odd without using modules operator, like modular operator. So these were the two questions that were asked as part of first round. And next question, explain thread life cycle. So coming to thread life cycle, there are five main stages, that is new, active, blocked, timed waiting, and terminate. So new, whenever a thread is created, it is always in the new state. Active, when a thread invokes the start method, it moves from a new state to active state. The active state contains two states within it. One is runnable and other is running. So runnable is the thread that is ready to run is then moved to runnable state. In the runnable state, the thread may be running or may be ready to run at any given instant of time. Running, when the thread gets the CPU, it moves from runnable to running state. Generally, the most common change in the state of the thread is from runnable to running and back to runnable. Then comes blocked or waiting. Whenever a thread is inactive for a span of time, not permanently, for a span of time, then either the thread is in the block state or is in the waiting state. Then comes timed waiting. Sometimes waiting for leads to starvation. For example, a thread has entered the critical section for a code and is not willing to leave that critical section. In such scenario, another thread, like suppose thread B, has to wait forever, which leads to starvation. Terminated, and this is the last step. Like once the execution completes, the thread gets terminated. So this was about the thread life cycle. Next question: what is the need of functional interface when we will go for functional interface? So functional interface is trying to give what we can say like functional programming linked to Java. So that's why functional interface came into picture. A functional interface is an interface which exposes only one method. It may have more than one method, but all of the other methods must have a static implement. Oh, sorry, default implementation. The reason it's called functional interface is because it effectively acts as a function. Since you can pass interface as a parameters, it means that functions are now first class citizens like functional programming languages. This has many benefits and you will see them quite a lot using JavaStream API. Of course, Lambda expressions are the main obvious use for them. But to give a functional programming look to Java, function interfaces came into picture. Now, next question: what is optional class? We can do null check before every operation on object. Then why optional class? So mostly many times people get confused with optional class. Like it is the whole and sole purpose of it is to avoid null pointer exception. No, there are other methods as well, which comes handy when we are using Java APIs, especially streams. So and using optional class, the readability will also increase. So that's the reason. Like uh, we go for optional class. So optional class got introduced in Java 8. So it is a special class. Next question: explain internal flow of concurrent hash map. How many maximum number of threads can act on concurrent hash map? So the concurrent hash map is introduced in, like we can talk in this way. Like we can answer it in this way. It got introduced in Java 1.5, belongs to java.util.concurrent package, which implements concurrent hash map as well as a serializable interface. Concurrent hash map is an enhancement of hash map, as we know that while dealing with the threads in our application, hash map is not a good choice because performance wise hash map is not up to the mark. Key points of hash map: the underlying data structured for concurrent hash map is hash table. Concurrent hash map class is thread safe, that is multiple threads can operate on a single object without any complications. At a time, any number of threads are applicable for RAID operation without locking the concurrent hash map object, which is not there in hash map. In concurrent hash map, the object is divided into number of segments according to the concurrency level. The default concurrency level of a hash map is 16. In concurrent hash map, at a time any number of threads can perform retrieval operation, but for update in the object, the thread must lock the particular segment in which the threads want to operate. This type of locking mechanism is known as segment locking or bucket locking. Hence, at a time, 16 update operations can be performed by the threads. Inserting null objects is not possible in concurrent hash map as a key or value. So this was about the hash map. Coming to the next question: what is Lambda expression? Write a custom functional interface and implement Lambda for that. So as we have shared the same question in the previous video, we are not talking about this. Like if you want to see the answer, we have in the previous video we have like given the solution for this for UST. The same question was asked as part of UST global as well. So this was about the first round coding question. Coming to the second round coding questions, which was about 15 minutes. So these are the questions, like 5 questions that were shared. First was self introduction. So when you're giving self introduction, please be very confident. That shows how much like that gives whenever you're confidently answering about, or whenever you're confidently introducing about yourself, that gives a positive impact definitely. That is like it is like a deciding question. Then about the project, again this would be a deciding question, because if you are an experienced candidate and if you are not aware of your current project, then definitely you are in a trouble. CI/CD in your project. So this may not be a decided question because not everyone takes part in this DevOps operations. Like, so why are you looking out for a job change? So give the valid reason. So never talk about money first in the first place. Just talk about like looking for growing opportunities or looking for challenging environment to work, challenging roles to take on. You can talk about that. Are you ready to relocate? So it depends upon you whether you want to relocate or not. So these were the questions that were asked as part of second round. Then here is a complete mail that we have received. So the candidate is selected, but the package discussion is in progress, I think. So and we haven't heard about like what was the package offered or how much time it was taken to get hear back from the TCS team. So we are also not aware of it. As and when we hear back from our subscriber friend, we'll update in the comment section and we'll ping that comment. So that's it in this video, guys. And if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe, like, share it to other technical platforms, and provide the feedback in the comment section. And if you're on our channel for the first time and wondering who are we and what we do, so we are basically a bunch of software engineers who attend interviews with different MNCs and share our real-time interview experiences through these videos. And the company names that are getting printed on your screen, we have shared all of these interview experiences already. You can visit our channel and definitely you will get benefit out of it. So that's it in this video. Thanks for watching and please do share your interview experiences at the email ID that is there in the description, so it might be helpful to someone in their interview preparation. And thanks for watching.